Oh, okay. It's Agnes as the villain. That's not a big shock right there.
And I killed Sparky too.
Oh, this is dead. Hey, Wandavision fans, thanks so much for clicking on this video. Episode 7 has premiered online, and it is finally starting to pull back the curtain on what is actually going down in Wandavision. What I'm going to be doing here for you guys is giving you my recap, my reaction to Wandavision Episode 7, along with breaking it down and pointing out things you might have missed, stuff that they're hinting at that leads to the larger MCU. Really a lot of great details in here, and now I'm just hoping the remaining episodes can be much longer and they don't keep ending right when my heart is at its peak of pounding. So be sure you guys leave me your thoughts and theories down below after everything that's been revealed here. Were you shocked at all by the Agnes reveal? Who do you think Pietro Evan Peters is? Because there were so many hints. He's definitely not who he says he is. And this time, we got a damn post-credit scene. Marvel, you're doing things right. Alright, so beginning off the episode, we start with the modern era of sitcoms. What we get, sort of like The Modern Family, The Office, a lot of fourth wall breaking, characters talking directly to the camera and even looking at them, stuff I absolutely loved. Wanda is waking up from the night before of the Halloween event. The twins rush to their sides, and right away, you can see kind of a difference right here with Billy and Tommy. In the previous episode, Tommy, aka Speed, was wearing blue in inspiration of his uncle, but it seems now that we're getting rid of Quicksilver, or finally revealing who he is, and Tommy is becoming his own man, going to his traditional color of green, while Billy over here, Wiccan, is still wearing the red, blue, and white that he has been wearing that's traditional with his costume. Just a little small evolution there with the character I like to see. And something else I like to see is, man, Vision, how are you not waking up in that bed next to her? But from there, we're starting to get hints that Wanda is no longer in control of this reality, or it is starting to slip out of her control as things start to revert back to different eras. Some objects revert back to the 70s or the 80s, all the sitcoms that we have been seeing. My favorite part is when the kids were playing their video games and we go through the different era of games. Nintendo 64 and Atari, going all the way to the classics. Oh no. You didn't think I had Easter eggs? But the reason this is happening, or my best guess to it, is because since she expanded the barrier of the Hex, it is now much larger than she anticipated, that her powers are just not able to withhold and manipulate reality on all these different objects. Cutting to this week's theme song that, yes, is inspired by The Office. If you did not hear that Office undertone as all the title cards were playing, I feel sorry for you, man, because that was awesome to hear. I was just bumping, dancing in my seat. But we get back to what Wanda's doing again. We're just seeing her interact with objects that are turning back and forth from different eras. One in particular is the milk, and when it's a carton, it does have a missing child sign. Now, a lot of us have been noticing that the set photos for Spider-Man 3 also have a lot of missing children's posters. We think that all the children that were brought into Westview for the Halloween episode were people taken outside the world and brought into Westview to fill in that void that Wanda was feeling. This card right here could represent a lot of the missing children there as well. It's also kind of funny that they blurred out that face. But on the other side of Westview, we have Vision waking up to the carnival that once was the Sword headquarters. These couple scenes really just blew my mind, because can you imagine telling yourself when you first saw Vision in Age of Ultron that eventually he would be running around in a circus location talking directly to the camera? It's just stuff that's happening in WandaVision with things I never thought we'd ever see, but I'm loving that we're actually getting it. Darcy's fictional character is introduced as a circus act who's going to escape a bunch of chains, sort of like a magician. That is until Vision finally does his little head trance thing, pulling them out of the loop, and Darcy sort of filling him in on everything that he's missed and can't remember outside of Westview. It's finally nice to know that Vision knows the full context of everything that we've seen. It also is kind of important because, again, they are name dropping people like Ultron, bringing up the fact of the parts he's made up of, that he comes from coding of Jarvis, Tony Stark's AI, but his body was meant for Ultron. All things that I feel like are leading to a secondary villain that might pop up, especially now that we know what was behind the firewall that Director Hayward was hiding, and it was the plan's Project Cataract to bring Vision back to life, thus to be able to protect the world if something were to happen again. Now, they weren't very clear whether Hayward was hoping he could be controlled, like he could be their own personal robot for Sword and he'd be out there doing missions, or Hayward just truly believes, look, a lot of crap has happened. We need as many heroes as we can. Vision was one of the most powerful, so if we can bring him back to life, that would be good for us. Because Monica and Jimmy Woo really seemed eager to let Wanda know that this was Hayward's plan, that that's what he was wanting to do with Vision. As far as why it's called Project Cataract, there's been a lot of debate around that. Some say that it's connected to the X-Men universe, but now knowing that the file was named for Vision, if you look at the definition for cataract, it's a medical condition in which the lens of the eye becomes progressively opaque, resulting in blurred Vision. So it might just be a little bit of a clever name inserted into Vision, but if you pair that up with every single WandaVision episode ending with the end credits going directly into Vision's eye, it could have a bigger meaning. This also does lend a little bit of credit to the Ultron theories that maybe Hayward could have accidentally been bringing back Ultron in the attempt to bring Vision back to life. But to me, it's just kind of a little further point that Hayward isn't all as bad as it seems, because he was trying to bring back to life one of the biggest heroes to keep protecting the universe. But along with more details on what's going on outside the bubble, again, more characters that us WandaVision fans are hoping are someone bigger that turn out to be nobodies. We had the Beekeeper, so far we have Dottie, and now the aerospace engineer that really did not even seem to pop up here, or was just this military friend that was helping them out. A lot of people were hoping it was John Krasinski as Reed Richards, maybe even an X-Men character, someone out there. A Hank Pym really turned out to be nobody we really knew, but it brought the thing that they were hoping to do, which is go into the barrier and make that explosion to destroy the Hex, something they talked about in previous episodes. And then while unfortunately the truck was not able to go through, we did get the actual final origin story of Monica Rambeau becoming Spectrum. This is something the show has been hinting at endlessly every episode, saying that her body's changing every time she goes into Westview, that when they were taking x-rays of her, that they couldn't even make out the inside of her body. And here we finally get it with her Spectrum vision, being able to see energy. That's mainly what her powers are. She's able to turn her life force into energy and project it out. Now, fans are still debating what name they're going to give her, whether it's going to be Spectrum or Photon. My main thinking is, since they already named her mother Photon, and we got to see that Easter egg in WandaVision, she'll most likely adopt the name of Spectrum, unless she just wants to be named after her mother. The glowing blue eyes were cool, but it was also awesome to see her in her black and white colors, something that will be her traditional outfit in the future. I saw some people suggest that they should just make a black and white version of the Captain Marvel suit, and that could fit her perfectly. I think that's a great idea. It's also worth noting Captain Marvel and her life was kind of flashing as she was going through Westview, hearing her family members, her mother, her grandfather, and even Captain Marvel at one point speak. This is all really going to come into play and give us a deeper meaning when she shows up in Captain Marvel 2, which is confirmed now. When talking about the commercial that was revealed here in this episode, it is kind of a big one. Not only was it hilarious that they went with an antidepressant commercial that, yeah, is on all the time because all of us be depressed. But the name of the drug is called Nexus, and if you look up Nexus in the Marvel Universe, there is something called the Nexus Timeline, and this place sort of works as the lobby or the hub where all the realities intersect one another. If you're in America, you could also think of it as the four corners where these four states meet up in one specific spot. Nexus is the one place where all these alternate realities or multiple universes meet up, and in the comics, sometimes it has even been Wanda herself that is the Nexus, being the center of all these multiverse realities, which again just goes to the bigger theory of what we're going to see coming out of WandaVision, that she's going to break reality, bringing people in from the multiverse, the Spider-Man characters, seeming like she already brought in a version of Quicksilver, and of course Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness. It could be now that they explain that the Hex is actually the Nexus itself and is the center where all these alternate realities intersect, and maybe the people inside Westview are just alternate reality versions of other people. Still, I think this is definitely going to come back into play, and if they explode the Hex or it just expands all over the Earth, it's going to basically mean that the Earth becomes the center point where all the multiverse and alternate realities come together. Also worth pointing out, it's again the same characters that we've been seeing in the previous commercials that we still think are Wanda's parents, but that has been yet to be confirmed. One thing I definitely want to bring up here is when we're checking in on Agnes babysitting the twins, we have Billy bring up a little interesting factoid where he was mentioning earlier in the episode that he just hears so many voices in his head and it's really his powers coming to life, where I guess one of them that he adopts is the ability to read minds. However, when he's alone with Agnes, he mentions, "I like being here with you because it's quiet. You're quiet on the inside," saying Wiccan can't really read her thoughts or hear any of the other thoughts going on in Westview. For a point, I thought maybe that Agnes is dead and she really didn't have a soul or a mind to actually read. Getting to the ending of the episode when it's revealed she's Agatha Harkness, no shock, no surprise. We all kind of saw that coming. Still kind of cool the way they did it and revealed it. We now know it's because she's a magical being and probably has a block for stuff like that where magic can't get through and her thoughts can't be read. But since we're on this point, like, okay, it was the reveal nobody was shocked about, at least people who were watching all these YouTube theory videos, that Agnes would become Agatha Harkness the witch, who in the comics was training Wanda, was also making the deal to take her children away, and that's kind of what was revealed here, is Agnes was after her children all along. Where they disappeared in that basement, who knows? Probably gave them up to her master Mephisto, but now I'm starting to think Mephisto never really was in here. Yeah, I know, kind of a shocker there. A lot of us were saying Mephisto. But they straight up say right here, it was her all along with that catchy song that's going to be playing all the way till next Friday on episode 8 of WandaVision in my house. But we see how she had been manipulating the town, doing a lot of stuff, controlling people, and we know that she for sure was the person that Vision's co-worker said that she's in my head, planting memories, get her out, help me. It wasn't Wanda, it was just a misdirect, and Wanda really isn't the villain as they were making her out to be. What's left now in the next episode is for us to finally reveal what her reasoning for doing all this, and it seems pretty clear. It is the children. She was after them all along. Wouldn't be surprised if it's revealed that she made a deal with Wanda, that I'll bring Vision back to life, give you a happy world if you let me have your children for a sacrifice. The biggest clue to what is helping her do all this though is right there, and that is the book in the Marvel Comics known as the Darkhold. The Darkhold is this evil ancient book, also named the Book of Sins. You can think of it as the Necronomicon for the Marvel Universe, and it's just a book filled with spells that a witch like Agatha Harkness would use, and you saw it glowing, so it's probably what was feeding power to Wanda to be able to create the Hex and gave her all this extra strength and abilities to be able to create this world. One funny thing to mention though, that this book was kind of already shown up in the Marvel Cinematic Universe if you were a watcher of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. There was a whole story arc involved with the Darkhold that even brought in Ghost Rider, played by Gabriel Luna. And now I know people might get mad at me when I say this, but Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is kind of on the line of whether it is fully canon or only kind of canon. The only reason I say that is because if Kevin Feige was not directly involved in the storytelling of it, it's not super considered canon, kind of like the Netflix shows that Kevin Feige has said are not canon and are just available for inspiration. But if they are going to take everything that happened in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and make it full canon here, then we have our entryway for Ghost Rider to show up. Also, the book does look a little different from the way it did in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., so maybe they could reveal this as a completely different evil book and not necessarily the Darkhold. But I gotta believe it's the Darkhold, and this will be the MCU definitive version of it. In the comics, the Darkhold was also used to bring to life an elder god known as the Sithon. He was even a warrior of Thanos at one point, and one way to bring this elder god to life would be through a sacrifice, and that could be what the children of Wanda are being used for. But aside from that, also the big thing I noticed that I was like, okay, we now know this could actually still be Quicksilver from the Fox universe, is we see Agatha Harkness was controlling Evan Peters' character the entire time, making him douchey, telling him what to say, kind of working as the messenger for Agnes. Oh, and really quick, speaking of messenger, we had the mailman show up again. His name was Presto, Mephisto. I'm still on that theory, y'all. So before the episode ended, I really thought to myself, okay, this could still be the Fox universe. She pulled them in from the multiverse as the version of Quicksilver for them right now, since we now know this is kind of the Nexus, and she just had to pull some Quicksilver from a different universe. But then that end credit scene came up, and it ruined my theory, because he was like, Snooper's gon' snoop, which is now becoming my life motto. Not only did Quicksilver dress completely different than what we would think, I guess this is modern day Quicksilver, but it's definitely showing he's in cahoots with Agnes, whether he's still under her mind control or not. Could he be the husband Ralph in disguise? If that were the case, I don't see the reason for why Agatha would need to manipulate and use magic on this version of Quicksilver if it is a suit disguise for Mephisto, but he still seems to be some sort of bad guy that's gonna grab Monica and take her down to that basement, and I think episode 8 will finally get the reveal, because even all throughout this episode, they were calling Quicksilver an imposter. They were saying, this guy's not your uncle. Who is he really? Still, getting to the end, we're getting so many answers along with so many questions. I loved episode 7. I thought it was really good. I want to know your guys' thoughts and theories down below with everything that happened this episode. What are some things you picked up on that I might have missed, or what do you think your theories are that's going on? I saw one crazy one where Agnes said that she bit a kid once, and people are thinking, since WandaVision ties to Spider-Man 3, Agnes was the spider that bit Peter Parker. Shut up with these theories, y'all. And to get everything, be sure to like and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter at 3C Film Review. As always, I'm Chris. Take care.